Hello, welcome to the stream. I went live a whole 40 seconds early. I've been waiting to go live and I was just like, let's just do it. I don't think it matters that much. How many seconds before it anyway. Hello. Welcome. It is November and it's already dark outside. It's 6 p.m. here. Very strange. I have some people to say hello to. Also, hopefully everything goes okay because my computer just now decided that it needed to repair Adobe Creative Cloud, and that means it has to download things. So we'll see how this goes. Alrighty. Matthew first. Welcome. Congratulations on being first. Question: anybody ever worry that you don't really have ASD? Example, or okay, people have told me that EG means something else. I just don't know what it is. That you were misdiagnosed. I started obsessing about that yesterday, and it makes me anxious of being a fake. Thoughts? Yeah, so this is actually pretty common. People call it imposter syndrome, I believe. And every now and then I'm like, what if? But for me, I also think about like one, there's a reason. There's a reason I sought a diagnosis. And two, I am a pretty frequent, a pretty frequent stimmer. Very outward, very stereotypical autistic stimming. And so I have to ask myself, is this, can you tell me that this when you do these things when you're by yourself, you really think that that's fake? You think this is normal? So sometimes I just have to ask myself that question. Also, when reality hits me in the face and I'm not capable of doing something that I feel like I should be able to do, that usually helps me with imposter syndrome personally. But anybody in the chat, feel free to give your thoughts on that. Kirsty Perkins says, hola, hello. Dave P.O.T., are you an OT? Because that would be really cool. Hi from Australia. Hello, hello. DVD and film blog. Hello. Liz Jenkin. Hello, lovely. Hello, lovely to you too. Roni Bunny says hi. Hello. Whoop. Things are moving. DVD and film blog. It just hit midnight here. My goodness. Welcome. Estefania Cañete. I'm not sure. Hi. Sorry if I said that wrong. Will Green Linguist. Hello, hello. Flying Falcon. Hello. I don't know why this was. I don't know. James Kolb. Hello, Stephanie. Hello, James. Saying hello to everybody. Kaishana. Hello. Lee Fuller. Hello. And they also say hello to everybody. Gamer Christina. Thumbs ups and hearts and exclamation points. DVD and Film Blog says, I think EG stands for example given. Well, that makes the most sense to me. I will agree with you. It makes sense to me too. Gina B says, I've been feeling like a fake too. Thanks for this. Hi, people. Hello, hello. Darren O says, hi. Karselki says, hi. Again, if I say the wrong thing, I apologize. Dave P says, I really am an OT. Cool. Working from home during lockdown. Very, very cool. I want to become an OTA, so I thought that was really cool. Hello, JG. Hello, new subby. Well, welcome to the sub family. I don't, this doesn't make sense anyway. Thank you. And hello. Gamer Christina says, after my diagnosis, my family still tells me it can't be autism. I think they say that because I've masked my identity for 31 years. Maybe they're thinking if I can hide it at times, then it must not be real. That's frustrating. And it's possible that's like what they're thinking. Like they're like reasoning or whatever. And it's harder too with family because like they've come to words. They've come to think, well, that's just you. You know what I mean? And since they've lived with you for so long, if it's not like super severe or super high support needs, a lot of times family isn't really ready to like accept it, especially if you possibly have it in your family, because then they're like, well, I do that too. Like, there's a reason. But yeah. Allie says hi, hello. Jenny, hello. I'm trying to catch everybody. Roni Bunny says I go through phases of denial at times, but then I do something that makes me go, "Yup, totally." Yeah, exactly. In fact, today I was working and this person who's newer, well, I'm new, but they're newer than me to the location. And we were talking, and there's a girl who rocks and kind of chills out outside at different locations, and I guess she was across the street today, and so she was just asking about her. And then I told her, sometimes I'm gonna go say hi and talk to her, but then I'll probably start like asking questions, and it might be rude because I'm autistic and I rock with or without music, and so but if she's not autistic, then that might be rude. I don't know. And so we were having this conversation, and she said she has a family member who's also autistic, and then that I reminded her a lot of someone she used to work with. I don't remember if specifically they were on the spectrum or not, but basically the point is it's interesting because sometimes other people will also be like, oh, like, yeah, you're a lot like this other person that I know in certain ways. You remind me of them. So I don't really remember where I was going with it, but there you go. I don't know. I'm sorry. Gabby Kitty, hello. I finally got my diagnosis this week. Congratulations. I'm happy for you. And there's so many hellos. I feel bad because I was trying to get everybody. Let's see. Hannah says hello. Emiris, sorry. Hello from Australia. It's fine, don't worry, my name's hard. I'm sorry. Oh, Liz says it is oh boy. Exempli? Gratia? I don't know. I know that there's like markings to help with the pronunciation, but I don't know. Latin for example. So like, couldn't you just say like for example then? Like, is it wrong? I don't know. And then DVD and Film Book also caught onto that. Kirsty says I'm typing up my novel about my autism romance story as I watch this. Sounds like we've got some autistic writers about autistic characters or whatever going on. Oh, I bet you. Hold on just a second. Sorry, guys. I think that my husband does not have his key to get inside. That's kind of problematic. Please hold. Can I remove? Sorry, I'm back. Apparently, it was just my dog. Well, my husband came home, but my dog wags her tail so hard that it sounded like she was the one knocking. So that's great. EJ95 says, I feel like a fake when I need to explain how I have a hard time because of my autism. Yeah, that too, like, because when you start to try to think of, like, how to put it into words, then everyone's like, well, yeah, like, but, like, everybody deals with it. Yeah. I think it takes people seeing it happen, like, seeing when you're overwhelmed for them to get it. And sometimes even then they don't get it. Okay, I'm gonna have to scroll down. Sorry, guys. I got too lost. Liz is gonna jump onto her other account. MNBY123. I feel out of place with anyone who is even somewhat NT. Interesting. I feel like I get along pretty well with either. Or like, I don't know, neurodivergent and not, I don't know. There are so many terms. That's funny. Oh my god. Ali says, oh, well, I'd have made him wait outside. but maybe you want him to bring you drinks. That's hilarious. I'm sorry. And yeah, Kaishana, it went black because I turned the also hello. And I turned it off because this is my secret little cave here, and there's a total mess behind me, and the whole process of all that jazz just seemed like you guys didn't need to see and all that. You know how it be. Escosivo, hello. I just wish my teachers and parents understand it leads to arguments. I'm sorry. Yeah, but like it's I wish I wish I could just make it better for everybody. You know what I mean? Like I wish I could just be like, here, understand. But unfortunately, things come in their own time, and it's just kind of meh, Gianna, sorry. B, do you know anything about level 2 autism? I got diagnosed with it as an adult, but I didn't know anything about it and still have no idea. So basically with level 2, it's very confusing. So you have the 3 levels. Usually people kind of think of it as ooh, control my hands here. A lot of times people consider level 1 and level 3, right? So it is hard because 2 is more in between those. So that's you need more support than someone who's considered level 1, but not as much support as someone who's considered level 3. So that might mean there's a lot of reasons, and they also take into consideration comorbid conditions. So for example, I know someone else who is also level 2 autistic, and I believe the primary reason they were put at level 2 is because they had co-occurring conditions, also physical conditions as well, that affected what they need support with, whether that's accommodations or people helping them maybe more with physical things and stuff like that. So it's not it's interesting because the things with autism apply to everyone on the spectrum. The concepts of stimming and sensory needs and the way our brains work differently. Not necessarily everyone's on the spectrum's brain works the same in that different way, if that makes sense. But basically it's a categorization to say that you need more support maybe than a level 1, but not as much as a level 3. So I don't know a whole lot from personal experience. Sometimes at work recently, sometimes I wonder about my level. But it's really just in what is the word I'm looking for? Basically what you need support with. And hopefully they gave you some information on that. I don't know if they did or not, but a lot of times if there are comorbid or co-occurring conditions that you have as well that might affect needing help with things, or needing more accommodations for stuff, then that might affect your level as well, if that makes sense. I just went off on a whole thing. Sorry. Do 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 do. Philip Noah, hello. It is very hard to explain to people. I got my official diagnosis 2 weeks ago. Still have not told my family. I tried twice, but it did not happen. I'm sorry. I think the weirdest, if this makes you feel better, how we told my husband's family was very awkward. Because my husband thought it would be funny to say it in such a way that it sounded like we would be expecting a child, possibly, because we said we needed to say something at our dinner, which was mean in my opinion, because that's an exciting thing, and not everyone feels that way about autism, you know what I mean? And also it's not a whole new person. So yeah, so that was awkward. And then we were just we're gonna be learning more about this thing. And then we had this conversation, which was very brief, honestly. It was just kind of okay, but who told you that? And then I explained, that I went through this process to get a diagnosis. And then they were just kind of okay. And, some people like, if it makes you feel better, I would have never guessed. And they're like, we still love you. Like, it was just kind of like, no one knows what to say. And so, I mean, at least if it makes you feel any better, it's hard on both ends. Like, you don't know how to bring it up, but also people don't know how to respond. So everybody in the situation just doesn't really know what to say. So yeah, that's like how ours went. And then it was just like, that's the end. And we didn't really, visit it a whole lot. After that. So yeah. Sometimes I explain things in the moment, but not a lot. I think Justin probably talked a lot more with some people who were like asking questions. There was someone I did have more of a conversation with. They were just kind of curious, like, well, what is autism? Like, what does that mean? And so trying to explain, yeah, it's like, it's like, there's a lot of information under this word right here. And where do I start? Anyway, sorry. I'm gonna have to catch up. Sorry, guys. Flying Falcon, wait, you didn't catch the preggers? No, I didn't catch it. MNBY123, have you ever made a video about ASD and the mental health system? I have not yet. I think that's something I want to look into. I think it's I don't even know where to begin, just because the mental health system in general is a whole thing on its own, let alone adding autism to it. And the dynamic there. So I think that's something that I'd like to talk about in the future, just probably not anything in the near future. I do have something kind of going on, supposed to be going on, kind of waiting on a few things. But yeah. Annika Breeden, hello. I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 8, but over the last couple of years, I've been thinking I might be autistic, but I don't know if my parents will understand if I tell them. Well, I think the best way to go about it is to like explain why. And again, like we just said, it's kind of hard to just be like, this is why. So for me, I think the best way to go about it is like, okay, well, like, what led you to being like, well, maybe it's, maybe not just ADHD or not even ADHD, autism instead, or autism in addition to. And start writing those things down. Like, this is what I started to think about, or I saw this and I realized, that doesn't really fit ADHD. Excuse me. And just like writing those things down might help them to see like, sorry, oh my goodness, why you're thinking that, and that there's like an actual basis, not just like, I don't know, I just felt like it, you know what I mean? I do have a friend I want to go over the differences and similarities, and just like, I don't know, some sort of conversation on the whole ADHD and autism thing, especially because I personally am not super clear on some of the distinctions. I do know, like, obviously they are different and people can have both. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would like to go through it and stuff. I just need to research more about it. It's me. Hello, it's Sadian. Hello, welcome. Glad to see you here. I just thought it was funny because I said it's me. Okay, sorry. Gamer Christina. I love that song. Matthew says, sorry. Anybody have an ASD diagnosis but no problem reading emotional facial expressions in a formal test? My wife says the issue is not difficulty reading faces, but the tendency to not look at them as much. And that might be true. I haven't had like a super official thing on like faces. I thought about, that's another thing I wanted to do for fun, to take one of those tests or whatever. I've done one for prosopagnosia for fun. But a lot of times it's also like there's multiple choice, like these don't make sense, so here's this one. And I think I'm pretty for the most part adept, but I think it's also like nuance. Like if it's too nuanced or someone's not super expressive, then I'm like, but I also have a tendency to immediately think people are mad at me, and I think that's just a personal thing. So yeah, but if you guys have thoughts on that, you should share. Yeah. Roni Benny says, I love a video about how medication affects people on the spectrum. It goes with sensitivities, and I've only found anecdotal evidence, but it's super interesting. Yeah, I'd like to look into that too. I know, like, I'd also like to look into some of the ones that are usually prescribed, especially for people who might be higher support needs or have also like mood disorders and stuff like that. Because I know like some of my medications line up with some other people's that I've heard. Because on Facebook, people share a lot of personal information in certain groups. But like my stuff is not, like obviously not for autism itself, because there isn't medication for autism itself. Just dealing with things that could happen because of it or around it or are commonly comorbid with it. So like me personally, I take medication for like anxiety and depression, and I've actually seen a lot of people say that sometimes, the kind of stuff that I'm on isn't good and sometimes it is, and like some people are really sensitive, and like the person who deals with my prescriptions says that she thinks I'm pretty sensitive to medications. So I wonder, yeah, if that's just like in general, like oh yeah, well duh, because we're autistic and we're sensitive to everything, But yeah, I think it's worth looking into. Sorry for I keep on forgetting that that's probably not the best thing to do. But yeah. Do 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 do. I'm getting lost. Okay. Kajana says, why is it that disabled people are swept under the rug when it comes to COVID-19? Well, also, I forgot if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube or not. I think we are now. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? I think it's like because people have a difficulty, like when you are disabled, it is hard to have like the ability to advocate in the first place. So a lot of times people with disabilities have to rely on a lot of people who don't have disabilities to also advocate with them. So when you have, instead of it's just like, here's the healthy, normal, whatever population that gets whatever attention, and then also we should definitely pay attention to these people because they need more attention. When it comes to COVID, like everybody can be affected, right? So like I feel like because of that, this gets drowned out because now they're like, well, these people are also in need of attention, right? So unfortunately, when everyone's saying there's healthcare needs instead of just a certain group, I think that it becomes easier for people to like forget about things that they don't personally deal with. So like when the average person normally isn't worried about sickness and illness, maybe they can devote some attention to people who do commonly deal with it. But then all of a sudden they're worried for themselves and their mom and their dad and everybody else. Then they don't have that energy or attention to put towards others, and it's kind of more on themselves. That is my best guess as to why that happens. And this isn't just disabled people, this is also the elderly and stuff like that. You group certain groups of people who tend to kind of get drowned out when things like this happen, and it's unfortunate, absolutely, and frustrating. Although I don't think that it's like meant to be malicious, except for the people who were like telling people that they should sign DNRs and stuff because they're disabled. That was ridiculous and absolutely abhorrent. But and then of course you find out some people think like that some people think that just because you have a poorer immune system or because you're disabled or for whatever reason, they think, well, in this situation, isn't it okay if you die? Like, no, I'm still just as much as a human being as you are in this situation. Just a thought, But yeah, I don't know. That's my best thought on that. We've got some people commenting on medications and stuff like that. And sensitivity as well. It is upsetting, Kaishana. Gamer Christina says, I too think people are always mad at me. I think this because I am aware of their tone. I rarely hear people talk to others the way they do to me. Yeah, like, I also, like, I've noticed, especially, because I just got a job last week or whatever, and at first, people were kind of talking to me in a way that I'm kind of used to, which is because I don't catch on immediately or because I don't know all the rules yet, I get anxious. They start talking to me in a kind of a condescending, like, "Oh, you should know this already," kind of like attitude. And I already expect and anticipate it, which also leads to anxiety that doesn't always need to be there because they might not actually be thinking that every second, but in my head, they are. And then it became abundantly clear that I do have a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to autism in the workplace. And all of a sudden, there's like this shift where everyone's really nice to me and keeps asking if I'm okay, but also are like, do not leave her alone, so like at the same time now it's more like, are you inept? So that's fun, but I don't know, I'd rather people be nice to me than condescending to me, I guess. But yeah, you're not necessarily wrong, like, and that's the hardest part is like, there's that anxiety, like all these people treat me different, even when sometimes they don't mean to, but like it's worse when your fears and your anxieties are affirmed, right? So like, someone talks to you a certain way, but then all the people they just get along with, they talk to differently. That affirms that idea, like everyone's mad at me or there's something wrong, or I don't know, like I'm different somehow and you think of me less. And so yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but I agree that that's a thing. Um Um, MNBY123, do you know any video resources on YouTube on autism and PTSD due to abuse or anything similar? Also, has anyone been intentionally abused due to their autism or been abused in general? I believe that question's for the chat because I assume, obviously people have been. My best suggestion would just, and I don't know, I feel like maybe we've already talked about it, but I did really enjoy the video by Samdi Sam on that. I don't know if it was necessarily specifically due to autism necessarily. It was a conversation around autism and PTSD. That's the only one that I've personally watched and seen, that I could point you to. Hopefully maybe some other people in the comments might be able to share on that. Gary, 70 didn't pick up on my dementia question. Hello. I feel like the neurological develop differently from birth than a non-autistic brain. So does memory stay stronger in old age compared to an NT brain? So like, does perhaps neurodivergence affect memory differently, maybe is what you're saying? I don't know. And it may be better or worse because just recently the video where we were talking about decision making, there was a note in there about we've already seen difficulty in I think it's, I don't know, some sort of memory, basically pulling from memory. But we have typically have a bad working memory and a really good like long-term memory. I don't know. I haven't personally seen research on it. It's possible that it affects it, but I don't know for sure. No. Leslie P says, "Oh yes, I cannot deal with confrontation. I just cry." I'm pretty sure, like, I'm pretty sure people expected me to cry today because someone was like really not happy with me. Yeah, I don't do well with confrontation myself. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes if I can understand like why someone's frustrated and not take it personally, which actually this is a new development in life, because I used to always take it personally. Like even though I knew mentally like they're frustrated, it's not because of me, but they're just upset. Even then I still couldn't handle it. But recently I've been better. And the only reason I know this is because I've been dealing with the public again. And like two people were like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like, yeah, they like made me feel flustered, but I didn't take it personally. Like, I got that they didn't understand, or they were frustrated because I didn't understand. But like, I actually was able to not take that super personally, which is new. It's just very new for me. Again, not really sure where I was going with that, but there we go. Yeah, DVD and Film Blog says, I found in autism, we have a better long-term memory and a crap short-term memory. That tends to be, yeah, accurate. Natalie Wolf says, memory only happens because of language development, ability to label events / facts. So it makes sense that autism equals memory troubles. That's interesting. I'll have to look into that because it seems like some of y'all are interested in that too. I really got to write stuff down sometime. I'm sleepy. Yeah, so I was gonna poll you guys about what time we wanted to do this stream, and then I got my new job, and I actually managed to keep it so far. We've had to have some adjustments after the first day because that was a train wreck, but so then it happened that I was working till 4 today, which is good that I didn't try to do it earlier than 6 because I ended up stuck there until 4:30. And this really nice girl that I mentioned earlier, she was supposed to get off at like 1, and she was also there till like 4:30 because they can't leave me alone on the register, which I appreciate because I don't want to be left alone on the register. I'm not supposed to be, and I do not want to be. So yeah. Annika Breeden says, the way my memory works is I always remember things based on where people or things are in relation to a room and stuff. That's interesting. I know that like when I'm challenged about information, for like example, I was told in one location earlier in the day that I was supposed to be at work a certain day from 10 to 4 or 10 to 3. Yeah, 10 to 3. And then later in the day at a different location in the store that it was actually 11 to 3. And then the day I come in at 11, someone was like, you're late. I'm like, I'm not. So like in my brain, it was like, I can tell you exactly where I was standing when this happened. So I don't know if that also is a thing or whatever, but usually when I'm very sure about what was said, I also tend to remember location. But I think most people do, right? Like if you're very sure about information, surely you remember the moment, right? Like location wise? Probably, right? I feel like that's true. I don't know. Vienna Day says, I like watching you stim. Well, thank you. That makes me happy. You would be very amused at my workplace. Hannah Keto? I don't think I have any memory problems, and he's just interpret my executive dysfunction and dyspraxia problem as memory problems. Could be that too. Angel Bobbitt says, hey, hello. Oh, Lizzie P says, oh, Steph, I don't know if you saw my comment on a vid, but update, funding has been approved for my assessment with the top diagnosticians. Waiting list is approximately 3 to 6 months. I am thrilled. That is awesome. I'm super happy for you. Also, that sounds like a long time, but I feel like is also like, okay, because you're like super approved. So I'm excited for you. That's cool. Yay. Philip Noah says, my working memory index score was borderline bad, but information recall long term was superior. That sounds about right. Oop. I almost clicked something else. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, because yeah, working memory is usually one of the. I need to do a video on that too because it's part of the executive functioning, and we tend to not do great at that. Blogger Music Man. Hello, Stephanie. Been on here before. Nice to see you again. Nice to see you again as well. Thank you for joining us. Matthew says, my wife told me that not feeling the need to go to my grandpa's funeral a few years ago and just sending a note instead was a pretty aspy thing to do. Was it? I'm gonna go with yeah, probably. A little bit, yeah. I feel like that is against the norm. I do not like going to funerals. They are very sad and usually high pressure because I usually end up having to help the AV team to like run stuff, and it's like someone's funeral, so like it's kind of a big deal because like this is the time everyone's come together to remember somebody and honor them and stuff. But like, yeah, it's a very sad time. I don't like it. I don't think anybody actually likes it, but I would rather very much prefer to avoid it if possible. But yeah, I don't know. People keep on telling me it's disrespectful to do that, but I don't know. I don't know. Whoop. DVD and film blog. Is this an autism thing? But I'm terrible at remembering names. During my school and college days, I only remembered half the names of my classmates. I don't know if it's specifically an autism thing, but I'm bad at names too. I am only 80% sure of the name of the girl that I was working with today. And I'm trying to remember names because it really matters when you're trying to call for someone specific. But I will say that something about roll call really helped me in elementary school because I refer to everybody by their first and last name, which I remember my older sister pointing out and being like, what is with you? Because I'd always say like, oh yeah, like when my friend's name was Vanessa, and then I'd say her last name. Yeah, Vanessa so and so, blah blah blah. And they'd be like, okay, but like why don't you just say Vanessa, right? Like I don't know. I hear their name on roll call, and that is their name. So, and it's also easier to distinguish them because clearly they're probably not gonna have the same last name as someone else. Gina said name tags at work always helped. Yes, that is what is helping me personally. Natalie Wolf says, are you familiar with the Japanese author of Fall Down 7 Times Get Up 8? He describes his memories as dots of facts held in his mind that he struggles to connect. Love that book. I'm not familiar, but that is really cool. I have to like add that to like the list of really cool things I should check out. Blogger Music Man says being the close family of the person who has died, I've been through this twice, is not fun. You can't get through it though. I'm sorry. Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have the right words for that. I'm sorry. I missed. Hold on, sorry. I'll get to you in a second. Natalie Wolf said, my son is learning names with the song Who Stole the Cookie from the Cookie Jar. Nice. Blogger Music Man says, how are you handling COVID? Probably a lot better than most people, mostly just because I've already dealt with it. Of course, I get that there's no proof because of the whole mutation thing that people won't get it again. But I am going to live in my non-anxious bubble in my brain just because it makes me feel better, and there's no difference of me being anxious about it versus not being anxious about it going to help me, if that makes sense. So yeah, my husband was hospitalized for it, and I got it end of July, I think, when all that went down. I don't know. It was horrible, but now it's over for us, and it better stay that way. I'm really hoping that we don't see mutations in our area. Like, I'm hoping that we just stop. You know what I mean? It's probably not gonna happen, especially because our town is like one of the ones that have peaked, I guess, or whatever, is like going up. But I don't know. And like I don't know, I'm just not worried anymore, and I'm okay with that. I know like some people are, and it's something, it's not an unfounded concern, obviously. And like I have to wear a mask all day at work and stuff, and we spray everything with sanitizer all the time or whatever. I don't know. I think I'm pretty much indifferent at this point, having just dealt with it, and I'm just like, okay. It's in my head, it's over. I don't care to think of it in any other way, because if I do, then I'll get anxious again, and I just don't have the mental energy for that. So that's how I'm doing with COVID. Obviously, everybody in the chat, feel free to share how you are doing. And then some stuffs about things that are sad in it is, yeah. Inspire so many. Hello, guys. Hello. Welcome. Blogger Music Man says, didn't realize you got it. That must have been a trip. It was. I'm glad you're looking forward. Yeah. And then, Allie says, sorry to hear that. My sister's partner is in the hospital now, and it's really tough. I'm sorry to hear about that as well. That's really sad. It's like, I don't know, it's so weird because, like, I don't know, like, like, I don't know, when people are in the hospital, though, like, for me, like, obviously that's really bad that they got to that point, because it's very serious if someone has to go to the hospital. But at the same time, that means that they're in the care of the people who can help them the absolute best. So that means that they should be okay. That's how my brain works. I know that that's not really how everything ends, but in my head, that is going to be it, because I just cannot hold space for anything else. But yeah, it was not fun. But anyways, yeah. Angel, you are correct. Blogger Music Man says, I'm okay. My family and I are taking precautions. Have an elderly grandmother we're concerned about. We visit her but never hug her or get too close to her. See, and that must be really hard. I'm sorry to hear that. Just because, I don't know. For me, hugging is very important. I don't know why. I'm just a very big hugger, and when it comes to people I care about, so, you know. DVD and it moved on me. Sorry. DVD and Film Blog says, I've pretty much have become desensitized to COVID because the handling of COVID here in the UK is a mess. So at this point, I just don't care. Of course, I still follow the rules and wear a mask, right? Like, and see, like, that's another thing. Like, I know, like, some people are, like, constantly following the numbers, and, like, I just can't do it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do it. Can't do it to myself, because when it first happened, I struggled really hard with not freaking out. And, like, and see, okay, so here's something, conceptually. When there are things going on in the world, I've noticed that, like, people online say, like, it's rude and insensitive and tone deaf and whatever else to, like, talk about things that are silly and fun and don't have to do with that, or not mention the gravity of the situation and stuff. And, like, I get that, but at the same time, when this all first started and everything, like, everywhere I looked was about it. And for me, I just wanted to be able to go to something that was light and fun-hearted for a few minutes, because, like, quite frankly, I've heard about it everywhere I look, and that just builds my anxiety personally. So, like, I don't understand that concept. Like, I don't think, like, there was, I don't know, some random drama, something or another, because someone wanted to launch their thing, but it was during the election time, and I guess, I don't know, somehow that was unimportant for them to launch their stuff because it was election time and people had feelings. But, like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, why do people have to be unhappy and always on this one thing just because this thing happened? I don't know. Maybe I'm lacking in an understanding of this concept, but that's just some random thoughts there. Sorry. I feel like somebody had said hello and I wanted to say hello to them. Yes. Rope Crewman 36 just got here. Hello. Howdy. Hola. And oh boy. Yabaseo? Yabaseo? Sorry, I tried. I tried. Hello. Mr. Mark, hello, welcome. It's okay. we can be late and not late altogether. That doesn't make sense. I'm just gonna say stuff. I don't know. George Stokes says, speaking of hugs, is physical touch your love language? I honestly don't think so. For me, it's more of like a comfort thing, and it's probably actually a sensory thing. I don't like hugs that aren't like, oh, they have to be a certain way, but when I feel them, they make me feel whole and happy. I really think it's partially a sensory thing. But otherwise, I'm not okay with touch. So it's weird. I don't know. I guess I should probably take that whole test or whatever for like the love language thing, but I just don't think. I don't know. I think like, I don't know. It's too much for my brain. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know is what I'm trying to say. I feel like I missed something. Vienna Day says you have to keep a good balance for your sanity. Agreed. It's me, which is Sadian. I don't even like to go in public anymore, and now it's just to where I've gotten that I don't even want to go out of my house. I'm sorry. You don't mind being in the car, but it's another it's another subject. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think it depends on like how things are going in your area too. Like even just like for example in the US, there have been places that were under super strict lockdown while we were like not. And then we were under more lockdown while other places weren't and blah blah blah. So I think that also influences it too. And like the more precautions happening and the more you hear about the stuff, it can make you like more scared to go, and there's nothing wrong with like staying home or whatever, obviously. I don't know, I just it's too it's, the anxiety is too much for me. It's strangely enough just too tired, I think. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep saying I don't know, like that's somehow progressing my brain. I just yay. Hey, I thought we like said hi to each other and everything. um Lizzie P. I don't remember who first asked this, sorry. I'm naturally an introvert, but after wearing an extrovert mask for so long, I've morphed into an ambivert. You know, I have suspicions about myself when it comes to that, honestly. Yeah, probably is. Hold on. Can I do that through here? Oh, yeah, I can. Sorry, car. I feel like we were having a great time with you, and then you had to be Troy, and I'm confused. But all right, it's whatever. Brain. Oh, okay. So, okay, yeah. So like, I don't know. Usually I type INFJ, which is the most extroverted of the introverted types, according to the MBTI. Which I don't know. There's like different people who feel different ways about different tests and blah blah blah. Anyway, um, so like sometimes I wonder because I feel like I am in ways more extroverted than some people, but at the same time I do get tired and exhausted from being like around people and talking to them and stuff. How to the ever, I don't know if that's because of the autism or because of my personality. Like that's like the weird thing is, and it's kind of funny because I talked about it a little bit in a video about like the MBTI and autism and stuff like that. And the concept of like different personalities and autism and how that might affect your typing and all that jazz. And there are so many people who like tell me like different things. They have theories about this and that, based on whether it's about me or like autism or my type and all that stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, I I don't know. It's not a science, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. Oh, EJ95 said, I'd like to participate in the chat more, but I feel sick and can't sit up. Well, don't worry about participating if you don't. I don't know what I'm saying, but I hope that you get to feeling better quickly is what I'm trying to say. And thank you for being here. And I'm sorry that that you're feeling not well right now. Also, other people are also saying that they hope you feel better, and I hope you rest too. I saw my name. Hold on. Mithra73. Hello. The link between highly sensitive people and mild autism. Many women on YouTube claim to be highly sensitive people, but they just seem mildly autistic. Recent episode of Psychology in Seattle on it. Steph opinion. Well, I haven't seen the thing, so I can't give you a full opinion. However, I do think it would make sense for them to coexist. If autistic people tend to be more sensitive to things, then it wouldn't be that much of a surprise to me for autistic women to also be able to type as highly sensitive people, when it comes to like emotions and perceptions of other people's feelings and stuff like that, and being affected by that stuff. I see, and like this is where it gets all murky and stuff. Like I don't think it has to be one or the other. Um, I it's hard because I feel like there are many different things that are trying to put a name or a qualification maybe onto things, to explain the world and how people work and stuff, and maybe both have an aspect that are correct necessarily, and I don't know. That is my terrible explanation of my thoughts on it. Someone had said something about, yes. Matthew says, have you heard of Sweet Anita on Twitch? She has Tourette's and a lot of coprolalia, but I find her so amazing and inspiring. I do, and I binge watched her for a while, getting to like know her more, and I really appreciated something she said, and I say it to people a lot because of it. Just I was just like mind blown by what she said. So yeah, y'all should really check her out. She's awesome. She was talking about like when people ask her if she wishes or wants a cure for Tourette's, and she says she doesn't really. Sorry, my foot decided to cramp. She said that when she doesn't really appreciate people saying that, because to her that sounds like, don't you want to be more like me? And that's an interesting perspective, I think. When someone says, don't you want to not have Tourette's? She says it's kind of like they're saying, don't you want to be more like me, more like my perception of normal? So you should be like me, right? Like you should want to be able to do this or not do this and blah blah blah. And I think that's interesting because like it kind of really applies, in my opinion, also to autism. Like that's kind of like other people saying like, oh well, like wouldn't you want to not be autistic, wouldn't you want to be like me? I don't know, I just thought it was a very interesting perspective and I definitely appreciated it. But anyway, I missed somebody. Philip Noah says, I type as INTJ, MB type, and ASD sound very similar. Excuse me. And I wonder how much is personality and how much is ASD. Same. Kaishana says, how can we get others to see that autism cannot be recovered? Well, first of all, obviously, we can share the information. Unfortunately, though, we can't force people to understand things or see things the way that we do. There's also like one day I want to go into why some people see things a certain way and others see things another way when it comes to that whole conversation, especially because of the science aspect and why some people are really clinging on to a small percentage of people who can't be accounted for when it comes to like genetics and stuff. But I'd have to do a ton of research on it. I'm interested in it and I want to share it with you guys eventually. Whenever I get around to that. But I mean, like you can explain to somebody that it's more like your brain is being wired differently. So like a lot of people think like so and so has been recovered because they don't stim outwardly as much, or they manage to hide as much as they can of the things that you call autism, right? um I've seen I've seen with my own eyes parents be like, oh my goodness, this person, like, my child doesn't have autism anymore. Like, the doctor said, like, they're not, they don't have the autism diagnosis anymore. We beat autism. And it's like, honey, no, you didn't. And it's just a fundamental misunderstanding of what autism is. Your child did not magically have their brain completely rewired. Your child has learned to meet certain requirements to be able to take them off of the diagnostic criteria as determined by the person that they went to. Even people, like, I just don't know. I don't know how to get people to understand that. You can explain it, but people unfortunately come into understanding on their own, and it's frustrating, but it's just reality. So, yep. Shauna says, want to wish you a happy early Thanksgiving. Happy early Thanksgiving to you, and happy early Thanksgiving to everybody. So there's some things happening. I lost what happened. So stuff about different kinds of types, I think. Now everyone is living like an introvert. A lot of people, yes. Philip Noah. INFJ type, Kirsty. You. MNBY123. I love your videos / appreciate the time and effort it takes. I wish I could do something similar one day too. I've tried to do this before, but haven't gotten to the point where I can be able / comfortable. Well, I hope that whenever you feel more comfortable with it, which a lot of times it just takes practice, which is, I know, frustrating. Probably a lot of people have already said that to you. It's just sadly just how it is, like practicing in front of the camera or like just like making little videos or whatever to kind of see like how you might improve on that or something, or just even just being comfortable sitting in front of the camera and stuff like that. Like, it'd be really cool if you are able to, and I appreciate the appreciation. Yeah. The Canadians. Sorry, guys, it has already been Josh Richard. Sorry, sorry. Josh Richard says, "Happy late Thanksgiving from Canada." LOL. Yes, sorry guys, you've already had your Thanksgiving. No, Allie says, I tried to make one. I suck in front of the camera. I sucked in front of the camera too in the beginning. Believe me, there are so many videos that none of you have seen, thankfully. Oh, it is a thing that has developed over time, unfortunately. Angela says, I think my issues began after age 1 when I had convulsions with a fever of over 104. I noticed some say that they have the same issues as well. What do you all think? So was it like, did you have like a seizure is what you mean? Obviously that sounds concerning. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. Like, oh my goodness, I'd be really scared. I think, like, see, and that's another thing. There's a whole thing on, oh god, what is it called? There's a condition called PANDAS that also can mimic autism, but can be reversed because it's actually like an inflammation or something. I don't know. There's a whole thing. I don't know. I haven't looked into it enough to speak definitively on it. And then there are there's this whole thing about regressive autism, where people seem to be developing typically, and then were suddenly like they would lose speech and stuff. This is another thing I want to go into, but there was an interesting thing I saw, which I really should have kept for future research, where they were talking about, in a lot of these cases, if they had video from before the time where they supposedly regressed, there was actually signs of autism before. And also there's a whole process your brain goes through as you're developing, and a lot of times there's a specific age range that this typically happens, which is also why some people very strongly feel that it's because of certain reasons, because they occur around that same time. But there's actually things going on with your brain developmentally, literally things with your brain, parts of your brain like folding and unfolding and all sorts of crazy stuff that It's a lot. And I actually want to go into I'm supposed to be taking a class next semester on I think it's child development or something. I don't know. It's a psychology course that I wanted to do specifically because I wanted to understand what's happening at certain ages. Um whether it's psychologically or even like physically in the brain. I think that's very interesting, and I think it's a very important thing to understand before we start drawing large conclusions on things when it comes to autism. But that's just a whole other thing. um oh, oh goodness, it's already been an hour. Oh, bye Gary. Yeah, it's like 1. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Oh, Lizzie P, right, lovely people, bed for me. I originally planned to go to bed 5 hours ago. Oh my goodness. Good night, wonderful person. And she says good night to all of you wonderful people. Keep being who you are, inherently worthy, wonderful folk. Oh, that's so sweet. Yes. And yay. Dave F, hello. Counter autism stigma. Let others see your positives. Don't live your life like ASD is a negative. People will stop being around you. ASD will soon be invisible to, or will like. I was like, what? I was like, what? Why is it my brain immediately put it that way? I'm so sorry. People will like being around you. ASD will be soon invisible to them, and don't use it as an excuse. I kind of agree with your thought pattern there. I think that if we get hung up on ASD as like, this is why I'm not friends with people, or this is why I can't do this, and blah blah blah. That sometimes we can make what I believe is called a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Where, and this happens really with a lot of people who have issues with social skills, whether autism or not. um, your self-image has a lot to do with how you act, and then especially engaging with others. And that doesn't necessarily mean like your stims or whatever. That how you conduct. If you already think that someone isn't going to like you before you talk to them, it affects how you talk to them, or if you talk to them, or how you act around them. And that is true. It is unfortunately true. However, I don't think that necessarily acknowledging certain things is wrong, because when you understand where things are coming from, I think that's important. And dealing with reality is a whole thing. So yeah, there's a lot of different takes on that, I think. Huh? I do know what happened. There's a lot of things happening. I don't know what's happening. Oh my goodness. Yes, time does fly when you're having fun. Rip crewman. I think we're talking about locations. And then yeah, mostly locations, I think. Whole things on like the vaccine thing, which I'm not gonna get into right now. And yeah, I think that's about where we are. So it has been an hour. And my computer is slowly dying. I don't want to hear Christmas music. Okay, sorry. That was a very strange leap. My apologies. But they're already putting Christmas music on the radio stations. It's not even Thanksgiving Day yet. I was not pleased with that information. I wish I liked. See, the problem is I like Christmas music after Christmas. It's a problem. I don't know. It's a problem. I don't. That's not relative. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Allie said, I found social situations much easier at happier times in my life. Yeah, I think that actually does tend to be a thing. Obviously, I wouldn't say, for everybody it would be easy or not easy depending on those things. I feel like I'm explaining things nobody cares about. Anyway, yeah, so I think I'm gonna have to leave you guys. I'm sorry. I've had a wonderful time with you all. I need to figure out what we're doing in December. Let me look at the calendar really quick. So normally, woof. Do we want to say goodbye to 2020 together? Well, we wouldn't really, because I wouldn't stay on that late. Sorry, guys. Probably not, because I probably would have work. Unless I'm somewhere else. Ew. Sorry, I don't like a party. There's always parties. I don't know. I think what's gonna have to happen is I'm gonna have to get with you guys on my community tab to see if we're gonna do a stream in December, and if we do, when. Because the last Thursday of that month is literally the last day of 2020, which means a lot of people are going to be doing things, whether it's just, with their immediate family or something. And then we're all going to pretend everything resets on the 1st. Let's just pretend together. But yeah, I think I'll just have to talk with you guys on the community tab on that. So yeah, short chat. Yeah. It was a good one though, right? Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you all. Let me know if you have any thoughts, etc. If you want to, you can always comment on the replay of the stream, etc. Real Crewman says Thursday 12:24. Nothing is happening that night, right? Well, yeah. So see, that's like anyway. I will stop talking. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. I suck at ending streams. I love you guys. You're amazing. I will. There's some possibly interesting things coming up. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna be next specifically because I'm waiting on some stuff, but I will do my best to bring you stuff. So yeah, happy early or late Thanksgiving, depending on where you are. And I'll see you. And yeah, bye. Thank you. You're amazing. Bye. I'm pushing the button now.